More and more Canadians are asking the same question. Can I retire at 55? And on paper, it might look like the numbers work. You've saved diligently, your mortgage is nearly paid off, and you're ready for more freedom. But there's one critical piece that's often overlooked. A single misstep here can quietly drain your portfolio, especially if the markets don't cooperate early on. This isn't about how much money you've saved or even your spending. It's about when and how you start taking income. It's called sequence of returns risk, and it can change everything about your retirement timeline. Let's walk through what it is, why it matters if you're retiring at 55, and how to avoid the common traps. Hi, I'm Stefano Francescut, certified financial planner professional at Next Step Wealth with IPC Securities Corporation. If you find this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps more Canadians see this. So what's the one factor that changes everything when you're thinking about retiring at 55? Sequence of returns risk. Let me explain what that means, why it matters so much at this age, and how to plan around it so you don't run out of money. 1. What is sequence of returns risk? If you're retiring at 55, the biggest financial risk in front of you might not be inflation, taxes, or longevity. It might be the timing of your returns. It's called sequence of returns risk, and it's especially dangerous when you start to take regular income from your investments. Let me explain. When you're still working and contributing to your RSPs or TFSAs, market volatility works in your favor. If markets dip, you're buying in at lower prices and you have time to recover. But the moment you retire, especially if you're drawing income from your portfolio, that same volatility can become a real threat because now you're selling investments during a downturn. Let's walk through a basic example. Say you retire at 55 with $1 million invested and you plan to withdraw $40,000 a year to cover your living expenses. Now imagine the market drops 20% right off the hop. That's a decrease of $200,000. But because you still need $40,000 to live on, you withdraw it anyway. Now your portfolio is down to $760,000. Even if the market bounces back the next year, that recovery is happening on a smaller base. You need very strong returns just to get back to where you started, and you're still withdrawing every year. This is what sequence of return risk is all about. It's not just about how much your investments return, it's when those returns happen relative to your withdrawals. If bad years happen early, they can do long-term damage. If they happen later and your portfolio has had the time to grow, the impact is much smaller. For the first 5 to 10 years of retirement, those are critical. And retiring early at 55 extends that risk window significantly because you're putting pressure on the portfolio for a longer period of time. That's why it's so important to have a plan, not just for how much you need, but how to structure withdrawals and manage volatility so you're not derailed by bad timing. 2. Why this hits especially hard at age 55. Retiring at 55 might sound like financial freedom, but it also means you're stepping into retirement 10 years earlier than the traditional model. That extra time can be a blessing, but it also creates a longer window of financial vulnerability, especially in the years before your government benefits or potential pension income begin. Here's why this matters. At age 55, Canadians aren't yet eligible for CPP or old age security. You can start CPP as early as age 60, but doing so comes with a 36% permanent reduction from what you'd get at 65. OAS doesn't typically begin until age 65 unless you delay it further for the 36% bonus by waiting until age 70. So if you retire at 55, you're relying entirely on your personal savings for the first 5 to 15 years. And those early year withdrawals, they happen at the same time you're exposed to the full ups and downs of the market. You're drawing down your portfolio during a time of heightened risk with no other income buffer to soften the blow. As a simple comparison, if you retire at 65 with $1 million portfolio and CPP OAS benefits, you might only need to withdraw $30,000 to $40,000 per year. Retire at 55 with no government benefits, you might need to withdraw $50,000 to $60,000 per year just to cover the basics. That's a significant extra drawdown, and it's happening for a much longer period. You're now trying to stretch that $1 million, not for 25 years, but possibly for 35 to 40 years, depending upon your health and longevity. That combination, bigger withdrawals, no pension income yet, and market exposure creates the perfect storm for sequence of returns risk to do serious damage. And because the effects are compounding, a few bad years early on can drain hundreds of thousands from your portfolio, even if average market returns look reasonable on paper. It's not just about how much you've saved, it's about how you structure your income in those early retirement years, especially when you're retiring ahead of schedule. 3. How to protect yourself if you want to retire at 55. The good news is retiring at 55 can work, but only if you built a plan that accounts for the unique risks you're facing in those early years. Here are 3 strategies I use with clients to help reduce sequence of returns risk and create a more stable income from age 55 onward. Firstly, use a cash wedge strategy. This is one of the most effective tools for early retirees, and it's surprisingly simple. The idea is to carve out 1 to 3 years of retirement income and hold it in very low risk vehicles like high interest rate savings accounts or short-term GICs or a laddered bond portfolio. So let's say you need $45,000 per year to cover your retirement lifestyle. You'd keep $90,000 to $135,000 in your cash wedge, completely insulated from the market. Here's why this matters. If the markets drop in year 1 or 2 of retirement, you don't have to sell investments at a loss to fund your spending. You draw from your cash wedge instead, giving your portfolio time to recover before you tap into it again. If investments go up, you trim the gains and replace the cash wedge. This buffer can help protect your long-term retirement retirement plan from early market shocks, which is exactly what sequence of returns risk tries to exploit. Delay CPP and OAS for guaranteed income later. Even though you're retiring early, it often makes sense to delay government benefits as long as possible. Here's the math. CPP increases by 8.4% per year for every year you delay past age 65 all the way up to age 70. A 42% increase at age 70 actually. As well, if you delay CPP, that increase is not based upon your age 65 amount. It will include wage growth increases all the way to age 70, which will further boost your CPP income. OAS increases by 7.2% per year for each month you defer after age 65, up to a maximum of 36% at age 70. That's guaranteed inflation-adjusted income, which reduces how much you need to withdraw from your investments later on, when longevity becomes more of a concern. Delaying also acts as a form of longevity insurance, ensuring that if you live into your 90s, your fixed income will be that much stronger. Consider bridge employment or part-time work. If you're willing to earn even a modest amount of income in early retirement, it can make a huge difference in protecting your portfolio. I've seen clients retire at 55 and consult or work part-time from 56 to 60, earning $20,000 to $30,000 a year doing something they enjoy. That income reduces how much they need to withdraw from savings. It buys more time for markets to recover after a potential downturn, potentially allows them to delay claiming CPP until age 65 or later. It's not about working forever. It's about strategically buying time during the most vulnerable years. Know what you own and why you own it. Finally, have the right investment mix that's appropriate to accomplish your goals. If you're overly exposed to volatile sectors or asset classes, then it might be wise to revisit your investment mix to reduce the overall variability and range of returns you might experience. Key takeaway: if you're thinking about retiring early, it's absolutely possible, but it's not just about whether the numbers add up on paper. You need to plan for the timing of your withdrawals, protect yourself from early market downturns, and create income bridges that support you until government benefits kick in. Sequence of returns risk is the single most overlooked factor in early retirement, and if you don't address it, it can quietly derail even a well-funded retirement plan. But with the right strategy, cash buffers, income layering, benefit timing, and proper asset allocation, you can turn that risk into something manageable. So here's the bottom line. Retiring at 55 is possible, but it comes with risks that aren't always obvious when you're just looking at your savings balance. It's not about how much you've saved, it's about how you use your savings, when you start drawing them down, and whether your plan can withstand those early years if the markets don't cooperate. If you're relying on your portfolio to carry you from 55 to 95 or even longer, the first 5 to 10 years are absolutely critical. That's why it's so important to build a retirement plan that doesn't just look good on a spreadsheet, but one that actually works in real life, even when things don't go perfectly. We see a lot of plans with fixed rates of performance, but life rarely works in straight line. It's imperative to have your plan stress tested with historical or variable performance in order to fully appreciate if you're going to be on track. If you're serious about retiring at 55, or even just exploring whether it's realistic, I want to help you get it right. Let's look at your income needs, your retirement structure, when to take CPP, how to minimize taxes, and how to make sure your money lasts as long as you do. This isn't about guesswork. It's about creating a plan that you can feel confident about. So if you're a Canadian retiree or getting serious about retirement and you want a personalized strategy that fits your goals, click the link in the description to book a consultation. No pressure, no jargon, just real advice built for your next step.